Hey, come on, come on. Hey, what? Here we go, here we go, here we go now. Hey. Let's chit chat, this is the show now. Come on. Bad black mama's gonna let you know now. Hey. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Come on. Let's chit chat, let's chit chat, hey. Let's chit chat, sis. Hey, what's up? Let's chit chat, let's chit chat, let's chit chat, sis. Hey.
The topic is can we lose passion and can we rekindle passion?
Yeah, so I was doing some reading and some, internet searching. And yeah, the topic kind of came up. It was a variety of topics kind of merged into one. And basically it was just asking, and I think we'll get into that in another topic, later, but it was, starting out with, are we meant to be monogamous? And is monogamy meant to last forever or just for that relationship? And I thought about that and I said to myself, okay, so when we lose passion, because passion is not something that we have on a constant basis.
True.
How hard are we working to maintain that passion in a long-term relationship? Can we sustain it?
Mhm.
And if we can, what does that look like, right? And so what does it look like? We already know that both participants need to be willing for that to be able to happen. But what happens when we lose the passion? What do we do? Does that take over and then now the relationship is completely gone because we don't have this passion any longer? Or, what do we do to reignite it? And what steps can we take to do that?
I'm
So that's
sorry,
pretty
but
much.
their faces look like,
Well, you already know. I know that people are not meant to be monogamous. Period.
Okay. That's okay.
You think about it. Think about it in the Bible. If anybody believes in the Bible, then you and if you read it, which I haven't, so I'm just quoting what somebody else read to me.
What? What in the world?
Well, guess what? You're not the only one. So there's a whole lot of people that speak to it that haven't read it. So let's
in the Bible, there are lots of people who are not monogamous. So and so had several wives, so and so had several wives, and blah blah. I mean, lots of men who were not monogamous. Let's put it like that.
Right.
But I think when it comes to passion, I think women find a way and men lose the passion and then they start seeking passion in other places. But I don't necessarily think that we were meant to be monogamous. So yeah, that's just my take on that opening statement. And I ain't read the Bible, y'all.
Well, and to address, not to cut you off, Kim, but to address what you were talking about as far as monogamy, I think we need to be mindful of that in all the other cultures that they're allowed to have multiple spouses,
Right.
and or should I say multiple wives? Because I've yet to meet the one that one that could have multiple husbands, but that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day.
Their head is already on the stake.
But my point is that so those cultures allowed for them to have multiple wives, but that also too meant that you were able, it was mostly for rich people or people of wealth because they had to be able to take care of those multiple wives. So it ain't gonna be like Danny down the road in the trailer park that got 11 million wives and he can't take care of not near one. So
what you talking about in Yorktown? We did that too. We had cousin over here on Jefferson Street who had a wife over there on Master Street. Her whole family around the corner.
Well, and the thing is, people didn't have an issue with it because if you was taking care of two houses, then it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
I wonder how passionate he was with both wives.
Exactly, right? So how do you, again, that's like a whole nother topic, but yeah, that definitely comes to play, right? What does that passion look like? And so I know I'm not feeling it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? But you can get me in the mood. It doesn't mean that I'm not willing and not able, but I have not haven't been in the position as of yet to say I don't have that desire for my partner. And so, like I said, it may not be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but I'm always willing to work at it and always willing to do whatever is needed. If it's not there, what can we do to make it more exciting and to make it more passionate?
Okay, so I'm going to be the maybe the realist here. Okay, I I think that women relate passion to being more intimate with them and not sex related sometimes. You know what I mean? Even though we can't say women do not love sex, because we do love sex, and we kind of, as a society, say that we categorize sex as something different for women, and that is not true. You know what I mean? But far as a relationship, I think that we kind of separate them. But I think men kind of put more emphasis on passion to the point of it being more sexual. And when it's lost, I think it's lost in the fact that they may not find the woman, I'm going to say, sexually appealing. Do y'all agree in that aspect? Or they have lost something sexually with women? Because I'm going to say that in my marriage, my husband is always been touchy feely, always. You know what I mean? And we've been together for a long, long time, and I think that's what keeps passion going, because I love him to always like hold my hand and do little touchy little things like that. You know what I mean? So we have great sex, but I think I love that more about him. I can't tell you what makes it good for him. You see what I'm saying? But that makes it good for me. You see what I'm saying? But
Because that's your love language.
Yeah,
So
but
so he tends to your love language. And if your love language is touch, then
yeah,
that
I love
touch
that.
leads to, that's your intimacy that leads to your passion. So that makes
Yeah,
sense.
but when I'm not in a good mood, don't fucking touch me, because I'm not in a good mood. You know what I mean? I'm not in a good mood. But I mean, don't do that. You see what I'm saying? So don't. It's a difference there. But I like that. You see what I'm saying, Chauncey? But I've had partners where I lost passion for them, and I was trying to do little things for them just to keep things going. You see what I'm saying? But I lost passion for them. Like, I remember my ex-husband, I was like, I told him, I want to put like a rope down the middle of the bed, because I want you to remember to stay on that side, and I'm going to stay on this side. You know what I mean? The kids won't see it because the sheets are, and the blanket is there. But I want you to know, when you hit that rope, don't come over here. You see what I'm saying? Because I just didn't feel that way for him anymore. You see
One
what
of
I'm
them
saying?
battle ropes.
So you can,
If I thought
so,
of something so demented like that, you see what I'm
okay.
saying?
So your
In my head, I
intimacy,
detached.
so your intimacy is connected to your passion
Yes,
level.
yes.
Okay, that's fair.
Yes. But when I'm done,
Yeah.
I'm done, baby. I'm done. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking about going to the hardware store, getting a thick one. I ain't talking about a little one. I need you to roll over and feel the thick rope. You know what I mean? So
That's
you
a
don't
battle
come
rope,
over
Kimmy.
here. Huh?
That's one of
Tug
them
of
battle
war.
ropes. They're about
That's
this
the tug
Yeah,
of war.
the one you
Tug
can
of war
haul and
rope.
pull a machine or something like that. I don't need you to cross over. So I don't know. I know you put in here, Chauncey, can you rekindle it? I don't know. I think circumstances will help you rekindle things. I mean, I'm just talking from my perspective, because in any relationship, you're gonna have your ups and downs. I think if you want it enough, you will do whatever you can to rekindle it. That's just my thought. I think you'll do whatever you can to rekindle it.
Okay, Natasha.
My brain is all over the place right now. One, because you have to determine what your definition is about intimacy, passion, and desire, which is one. Two, I've had multiple couples come see me about non-monogamous relationships. One is doing very, very well. Like, it has rekindled what they want between themselves. The other one, they're not agreeing on it right now. So one, it's work. And I think no one really teaches us what the work is. Like, we just grow up seeing our parents either figure it out or they not together. Two is the ability to be honest about if you don't have a desire or if something is lacking, instead of being afraid to share that information and then getting resentful and frustrated, like actually having a conversation, but the other person being able to receive that information and not making it this whole woe is me, you hate me, like this is the end of it, but like actually being curious, okay, well, what is it you need? But then that brings another issue if you've lost desire and passion, because it changes over lifetime when you're with someone, right? You have
That's true.
kids, you're together for the kids leave, you know, people pass away, like you have all these situations that come up. And you have to be able to know what it is you want. You can't say, well, the fire is down or the intimacy is lacking or I don't have any desire, and not be able to explain what it is you need, because now they're frustrated, they're not getting what they need, and you can't give them any information. So for me, everything always goes back to communication. We got to stop being scared to say what we need because we want to hurt somebody's feelings. You're going to hurt their feelings anyway. Just like they have to get some coping skills because that's what a
Well,
relationship is about.
Well, and I'm glad that you said that, because I feel like the point that you just said about their feelings are going to be hurt anyway, right? So depending on what that passion, as you just mentioned, is tied to, right? Which is our intimacy, right? And our desires. So if that partner is not fulfilling those at that particular stage, but you can't verbalize and share with them and communicate with them what it is that they are doing or not doing, then that feeds into that person being resentful and the other person not knowing why you're resentful. They don't even know why you're upset, right?
Yep.
And so it leads from one thing to the next, and then you forget why you were even resentful in the first place. And so it gets
So now
all
y'all both just
convoluted,
angry.
and now you're just both mad. And so for me, I have found, you know, even if I'm upset or I'm angry, I've been able to compartmentalize that from a physical perspective. That don't have nothing to do with what we got to take care of physically, right? Just keep it separate, right? But I also feel like that closeness and that intimacy can sometimes break the walls down, so that when you were upset about something, then now here comes the pillow talk, and now you can kind of find a resolution to what you might have been upset about, that had nothing to do with the physical. And so that's why I said, for me, the passion for me is tied into the intimacy. But if you cut off my intimacy, then that's got, for me, that's going to cut off my passion. It's going to cut off my communication. It's going to cut off a lot of things for me personally. And so, yeah, so it's not perfect. Like I said, I'm not feeling this way 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And, but yeah, you know, you walk past me and pat me on my little boom boom, then yeah, you know, it might get something started. It might certainly get something started. But yeah, it's tied to my intimacy for me.
So can I ask Natasha a question? Because you the subject matter expert on the porch, huh? So let me just ask you a question. Give a resolution for this, because I think we're all talking girls talk. Passion is something that I think that women probably are the last people to like throw in the towel. You know what I mean? Because I think we do a lot of things to kind of hold on. You know what I mean? I like what Chauncey said. Excuse me. What Chauncey said. She said she compartmentalized.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as a solution.
No cat games.
Yeah. But then I kind of worry about, you know what I mean, what about herself? You know what I mean? Is she nurturing herself? You know what I mean? Because what is she getting to take care of herself? You know what I mean? Because can she compartmentalize?
I'm getting that. I'm getting that. Yeah.
Okay.
So right, because I don't feel like it's just for men, right? I think we have given that, we have felt like that is just for men, but women taking care of their needs and making sure their physical needs are met and not being ashamed to do that, I think that's very important. And when you were saying that we're usually the ones that are keeping the passion, I happen to know quite a few women that don't. And, after they've had children, or because of they have all these other issues and things on their mind or whatever, they are the first one to lose the passion and the desire. And so that's what made me want to bring the topic to the table, because I find that some of them just, especially when they get to our age, some of them just aren't interested.
But that's hormonal, though.
I think
mean,
that, yeah, I think that's a good topic you brought up, Chauncey, where women who are like moms, you know what I mean, and working moms, are just exhausted from just the day to day,
Life.
you know what I mean? And when if you have a husband who is demanding, I'm going to say demanding, in the fact that as much time as, and you should do this, don't get me wrong, man, because I don't want to be jumped when you come for me when I say this. You should give as much time as you do to the children, if even more, to the children, to work and everything else, and they should not be the last thing on the totem pole to say, okay, I'm going to give you time. You know what I mean? But we all have to be real. Do we not do that? I mean, because when I was with little people and I had to do the homework and kids were sick, you know what I mean? And then I had to do reports at night, and then you standing up there like this at night. What the fuck? You know what I mean? I'm tired. You know what I mean? And I don't want you rubbing your leg on me or nothing. Like, I'm done with that. I'm tired. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean
that's not how it goes, Kimmy.
I'm just saying, I know that's not how it goes, but that can be misinterpreted as something else because I'm exhausted. And you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
Well, if they're helping and they're putting in instead of just going to do what they do, because if we're being honest, statistically, what happens is he'll go to, and if we're talking about like a man and a woman, right? We're not talking about other relationships. If we're talking about a man and a woman, 9 times out of 10, he goes to work. That's the only job that he has. And then he comes home and is expecting stuff to be done. Now, if you're helping get some of this stuff off my plate, one, that's going to turn me on, because look at you over there bathing them kids and I ain't got to do it. Look at you cleaning the kitchen and putting the dishes away. You got my house smell like Fabuloso when I wake up and I get to take naps. Like, that's different. But you cannot expect for someone to show up for you when they showing up for everyone else, and you're not like putting in percentage to help. That's just, it's not gonna happen, and they're gonna have to get over that. That's probably not the right thing to say, but you're gonna have to get over it.
But
unless you put in
Natasha, are people not coming to you with that expectation? To think that because
they are, and I'm the first one to say what y'all got going on here is not gonna work.
Thank you.
So we're gonna have to do something different. And so usually I'm the last result, right? Instead of being, hey, let's be proactive. I am the reactive solution. So I have to go through and pretty much untie and undo everything that they've already done and say what's working is not this. So we're gonna have to try something different. They get to decide if they want to do it or not. Like, I'm not here to force anyone's habits. Like, if you're going to continue to do all the things and not ask for help, and I've told you to ask for help and your partner has said, one, when I do something, you get mad because I don't do it right. So I've just decided to step off, and you have an attitude. Like, behaviors have to change in order to get what you want. So, I mean, decisions.
That's a good
pick
point.
Your poison.
I feel differently than you guys feel. I feel like I watched my grandmother and my grandfather have kids, and he went to work and she didn't work, and she worked voluntarily on certain things. Excuse me. And I felt like he didn't help her at all around the house. He brought the money in the house, and she was afforded a certain lifestyle. And we keep talking about how women are doing these things, and these young women want men that will take care of them, but then they don't want to do the things to please the man. So it's like, you have the kids in the bathtub. Yeah, but you've been home all day. The kids could have been bathed before I got home. You've been home all day. I'm not even gonna front. And so why they ain't get bathed before I got here and dinner on the table So, I mean, we just have to adjust our lifestyles to what we want. I know people are gonna be like, this bitch is crazy. But no, seriously, this is how
But
they did it in the
that's
50s and
real
the
talk.
60s.
That's real
It's
talk.
real
Because
talk.
that's real talk, because you know what? If you look at social media, you got men saying the same thing you saying, Mel, men saying the same thing you saying, Natasha, because I think it's balanced. It really is balanced. If you have been home all day long, maybe that you make a valid point. But I do think that this much. If you have children, it's still not the responsibility of one person with their child. You know what I mean? Them children. You know what I mean? You gotta have some interaction. So even when you come home, I'm not maybe asking you to bathe them, but sometimes if you got a son or you're the man, maybe you should be bathing him sometimes because you just are building a bond with him. You know what I mean? That's not a chore that's always the mom's job because she's working. You know what I mean? She's a
Well,
stay-at-home mom. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah, and I'm sure
I
I'm
think we
sure
have to
that,
have a
yeah.
balance, a balance here, because while she's wore out, because I don't care what nobody say, if you stay home with kids, you are a freaking exhausted when
Full time.
exhausted
Of course.
when
But passion
he
is
come home.
separate.
But
Yeah, but
passion is different, and I think that, and what you're saying, Kimmy, makes perfect sense, and I agree
Right.
with you wholeheartedly. But I think sometimes too, we have to remember and recognize when we've been with this person, when we met them, and how that relationship was
Yeah.
when we started. Sometimes we get with people who, to me, are not very passionate people.
that's
I
true.
think that is a personality trait.
Yeah.
I could
Y'all
be
have no
wrong,
passion.
but there are a lot of people that, they do the do because they can do the do, but not because they just have like this lustful heart or, have this desire to. So then you have to recognize that in the partner that you've chosen, right? So then now, if you kind of sort of lack and you made up the difference in the beginning, then what happens years down the line when they lose it because they never really had it that much to begin with?
Right.
It's going to be even harder to recuperate. At least that's how I see it.
Because
Somebody gonna
then
be
we go
cheating.
into
That's
lying
gonna
to
be-
ourselves.
Would you say,
Somebody-
Natasha?
We go into how long have we been lying to ourselves, right? Like we
Right.
go into these relationships expecting that, oh, I can change this person. Like a person is only
Exactly.
going to change when they want to. So we got to recognize when we spend a lifetime lying to ourselves about what is actually really going on and what's going to
Mhm.
happen.
If
Yeah,
you got in a relationship with somebody who didn't have passion, what the hell make you think they're gonna get passion 10 years later?
People believe that though.
Yeah, for sure. Because
I'm
because
not trying
people
to be
think,
funny, but what did you think was
Like
going to happen?
well,
I
because
see your
people,
potential. I see what you can be. And I
right.
could, maybe if I love you enough, or if I put my passion on you, you'll give it. Or if that's what they've seen, like
the
it's
project.
a generational thing where it's
Yep.
like, well, my daddy didn't have passion for my mama and they turned out just fine. So that I'm pretty sure I can do the same thing, not understanding that is not a goal. That's not goals right there. But if they don't have anything else to go off of, like if you're literally going off of what you've seen time and time again from like your grandparents or your parents, they're not going to tell you they were miserable, because that's for them, that's none of your business.
Right.
I deal with what I deal with. He wasn't passionate, and that's just how we lived our life.
Right.
We have to decide that that's not okay for me, and I'm not going to do it just because that's what I've seen. I have to believe that there's something different that I can have for myself, which would go into breaking those generational curses. I'm not going to do it just because someone else is doing it. Like I crave passion, I crave desire, I crave intimacy. That's what I'm going to have. I'm not going to lower my standards for anything else.
So let
And
me
if
ask
that's
you
what, and if
question.
that's what it is that you want. So my
Right.
thing is, because we also find some people find out later that, okay, I thought I had passion, right? And I thought that's what was in this relationship. And then they meet somebody along the way that ignites this fire in them that they never knew that they had. And so what you thought that you had
You mean
is
someone
nothing
totally
compared
different?
someone totally different.
Oh,
Yeah.
freak.
No, seriously. Isn't that why people
happens.
isn't that why people cheat? Somebody has ignited something in you that it was either dead or you never had before, and then now it's like you're so drawn to them and they make you feel a certain type of way. It happens all the time.
Yeah, I
So
mean, no judgment here. I just,
yeah,
I'm
no, it's
trying
not
to
about
get
a judge. I'm
clarity.
just saying because it happens, then does the responsibility really fall? Well, it does fall on us to know ourselves well enough to know what's that fire inside of us, what ignites that passion in us, and then that it may change. So what it was 15 years ago or 20 years ago may not be what it is today. And being able to, like Natasha said, be able to have that conversation and not construct it based on, societal norms that happened when we were kids or whatever. Because every kid doesn't have an example in their parent, in their parental relationship what passion is. Their parents are there. The love is that they put a roof over our head and they provided for us. That has nothing to do with passion, right?
That's just survival.
I
That's
love
just
to see a
survival,
full
right?
couple smack each other
That's
on the
called the
ass. That's
law.
passion to me.
You know what I mean? I don't remember, both my parents remarried, right? But I don't remember my mom and my dad hugging and kissing and being affectionate towards each other. But I remember that with my mom and my stepfather.
Oh, that's cool.
Constantly in the 40 years that they were together. And sometimes it was just sickening, but it was there. And so I had, I didn't think that later on when I became an adult or whatever and started having those emotions. But, as a teenager, it was like, really, y'all just get a room. But now that I look back on it, I'm like, wow. But I know I have friends that have said to me, I've never even seen my parents kiss. But their parents are still together. They've been together 50, 60 years, but they've never saw that passion between the two of them. Bless you.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's basically what I had to say about it. And like I said, some people find it elsewhere, or they're going to make it work with where they are. But just still having to talk about it.
But does
But it's
passion have
okay
to
to
be on
find
full
it somewhere else.
display? Does it have to be on full display?
If you
no.
want it to be,
If you want it to be.
I think we have to have a different mindset about what it is that we want and being okay. Like if we want PDA, we need to find someone that likes that. Like if you want to hold hands, you want to kiss in public, like there's nothing wrong with it. I think a lot of things when it comes to passion and desire is a lot of hush, which would go into like sex and all that. Like you don't do that in front of people and we don't show all of that. But why? Why would you not want to show that love? Why would you not want to show your kids that love? Why, unless it's just like I'm uncomfortable, gross, I don't want to do this, that's fine. But are you not doing it because you don't want to? Or are you not doing it because, oh, people are watching me, or my parents never did that? Like we just have to start asking ourselves, why do I not do this? Or why do I do this? And if it's based off of someone else, then we need to get curious about how can I make this my story and make it not based off of someone else.
So if passion for me is giving a blowjob in the kitchen, but the kids are in their bedroom and we all on one floor, I don't think that's appropriate.
But if the kids are in their room, they're not sitting in the kitchen.
It's not going to be fun to possibly get caught by the kids.
Some people find that exciting.
Oh, by the kids? I mean, it might be fun to get caught by somebody, but not by the kids.
It's that excitement. It's that, oh my God, we're not supposed to be doing this right now.
Right,
and you might
right.
make it really, really quick, hurry up. And like that's exciting. But if it's not exciting for you and that doesn't feel right for you, then you don't do that.
I told
No,
my
it's exciting
husband
for me, but I don't necessarily want the kids to see it.
Well, no, listen, I said to my husband, we're empty nesters, right? So we don't have anybody at home, right? So we got into this huge argument one day because he was just like, I know I go to bed early, but you come to bed super late and we're missing each other. We're like, ships passing in the night and you just won't get your ass up in bed in enough time. And I said to him, dude, we have like a whole house. Who said we had to do it in the bed?
Right.
If we're
A
sitting down
whole
here
house.
looking at television,
A
right? Why
whole
can't
house
you
and a
come over?
porch.
A whole house, a workout room, a garage. Like we got the den. Like, why can't you come over? And if that's how you feeling, but why is it constructed to, okay, I'm going to bed for the night? Because I feel like the way I was raised, beds are made for sleeping. So you go upstairs to go to bed to go to
You going to bed.
Kitchen is made for getting hot.
okay.
And you
But
you think about it though, Chauncey. Look, isn't it more exciting? Like, I mean, because my husband goes to bed like at 8 o'clock. You know what I mean? I'm not going to bed at no 8 o'clock.
so
You
I'm
know,
saying, but
what in the world? Who doing that? Not me. I got
right.
it.
So
What?
so like Natasha said, my conversation with him was, why do we have to be limited to just going to bed at night? And then we ain't going to bed at night. If you still going to bed and it's daylight outside, that ain't nighttime.
Yeah, 5 o'clock.
That's the middle of the afternoon. Not that I'm not with it. I'm just saying that's not nighttime. That's not bedtime. So it's your bedtime, but it's not necessarily mine. So we had to have that conversation. And for him, it was more awkward than it was for me. Because I'm just simply saying, like, we got space and opportunity. Why we gotta just only do it there?
And you would have never known had he not gotten frustrated, because you wouldn't know the incompatibility of, like, I'm down to do it wherever, and he's like, I'm down to do it in the room. Like, you wouldn't know.
8 o'clock.
Wouldn't have said anything. Like, 8 o'clock, I need you to meet me so I can go to bed. But
Or
we don't understand there's the miscommunication. Like, we're just not talking about it. We just let it be what it is until somebody gets so pissed off that they be like, why you don't do that? First of all, I didn't know that it was a problem. So back off a little bit and let's have an actual conversation before you come at me crazy.
and what it also taught me was that I don't mind planning.
Mhm.
So I'm not so hung up. Oh my God, it needs to be more spontaneous. No, it don't. Okay, if you wanted it 3 o'clock every Saturday, then I'll make sure I'm ready and available 3 o'clock on
Oh my
Saturday.
God! No, you didn't say.
Oh my God.
But I'm saying, but in all honesty, if he's so regimented and he goes to bed the same time every Saturday night or whatever, then I know that now that's my time frame, that's my window.
And
So
then you
now,
prepare yourself.
and
You
I
get
prepare myself for it, and it's okay.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not going to say certain days of the week, we ain't going to get it down. We're not going to do that. But if I know it got to be about 3 o'clock, or I work from home, you want to come home at 12, hit me up. Let's get that
You
dinner.
funny. What the hell?
Why not?
Little afternoon snack.
And so that's where the passion is, right? So again, to me, that's the intimacy that leads to the passion that kind of keeps it going. And so if I know that that can't happen anymore, then I'm definitely going to struggle and have to be out there looking for some help, because those two are definitely tied into each other for me.
I think of that's I have one more thought for Natasha. And this is kind of piggybacking on what Chauncey said. You know, if you can't and you find yourself looking outward, you know what I mean. Have you had that happen? I mean, not trying to put you on, you know,
Front Street.
Front Street, put your business out there on Front Street. But have you had that happen in your sessions with somebody where basically y'all couldn't come to some type of resolve, and it basically was like, okay, well, I just figure y'all are going to go and find another means outward?
Not necessarily where we've had the conversation. I've had couples come to me for infidelity and they stop coming, and I look at the note, you know, and it'll say that they decided to separate or something like that.
Okay.
But for
Because I
the
always think
most,
about people who are like traditionalists, you know what I mean? Especially the male who's a traditionalist, you know what I mean, are so used to having a relationship a certain way. And I think the
yeah,
lack of communication is causing the issue, because you can't even get to the 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 problem, what's really going on. You see what I'm saying? So if you can't even get to the reason why we're here, then how do we resolve it? You know, like for I'm not trying to put you out there,
Oh
trying.
no, I get what you're saying. I'm actually blessed enough to have clients that accept my personality as it is. And I'm very upfront with them. Like I will say, okay, this is what you said your goal was, but no one is willing to do what I'm asking you to do. So what do you want to do now? You know, like I'm here to support you in the best. Well, I'm here for the relationship to support in whichever way you want to go. I'm either way you want to go is fine. But if you're not going to do the things that I'm asking, if you don't want to think in a different way, if you don't want to modify these behaviors, what is it? How do you want me to support you? What is it you would like me to do here? I put it back on them. You came to me to support and to help. If you really not willing to budge, what are we doing here?
I think that you
Now
would be
you're
a
taking
great
up a
resource.
slack for somebody that's actually like gonna do some work.
I think you would be a great resource for people. I think that we have a lot of people who represent on the porch, but I know several people who are in almost at a crossroad in their relationship because the passion has diminished. And I think that if they can get to the point where they find out why the passion has diminished, you would be a great resource to them because
Mhm.
they know they still love each other, which is a great thing. I think if you just know that you're not in love with a person, you're just done with it. I think that's another conversation you could be having with
Mhm.
someone else, maybe the attorney. But you know, but if you still have love for a person, you know what I mean? Maybe
Mhm.
you can come to Natasha, you know what I mean? Be like,
I don't know what to mean because
I
I
need help.
definitely once we get to the root of it, like I have lots of things to give them to start exploring. I think that that's one of the things they don't know how to explore, or there is some shame that we have to work through about what they're interested in. Because what I found with a lot of my couples is they're tired of doing the same thing, and somebody wants a little bit more kinkier, or but they don't want to say it. And so then I'm like, okay, well, look, I need y'all to go to the store together. I need y'all to talk to the people. Like, I want you to try this. And there's always one person who wants to do something a little bit non-traditional in the bedroom, and they just are scared to say it. So then I'm the one to be like, y'all go try this. And once they introduce it,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, oh, that was fun. And now the passion, and because there's so much to do, there's so much to explore instead of just being kind of like straight and narrow. They're just afraid to do it because they're afraid to be judged. They're afraid to be labeled. And so I just kickstart that conversation once we get to the root of the issue. Now we can have some fun.
All right.
Yeah, I think that sounds awesome. It sounds awesome.
It does. Well, thank you so much for that. I think that, like I said, this is the kind of topic that can lead into other things. So I definitely look forward to us having the conversation about monogamy and what it looks like today versus traditionally what it meant. And I think that people will have an opportunity to kind of respond to this topic, which will kind of help us in the direction on the monogamy topic, right? And so also too about intimacy, right? Because a lot of that is driven just from that alone, or possibly love languages, right? So if someone is feeding your love language and you're feeding theirs, I can't imagine why there may not be any passion there, right? So I thank you so much, Natasha, as always, for your valuable input. And Mel, you always keep it so real. I love it. I love it. And yeah, for those couples that are out there that are afraid to kind of sneak it in the kitchen and the kids are in the other room, yeah, try it. You just never know.
You might like it.
Try it. You might like it. You just never know. The kids might just turn around and you never even know they saw anything.
They're gonna run out that damn kitchen so fast.
You know, or you might have
be
that.
shocked. They might say, do it that way.
But it's also a good opportunity for you to explain that, this is relations between mom and dad. And, that's something that, we'll talk to you at the appropriate time, but it's
Of
very
course.
normal. And
Mhm.
so we don't definitely want them to think that it's anything out of the norm. So,
Right.
but yeah, anybody have any final thoughts?
I love it. I'm a very passionate person. I am the one that's gonna be in the kitchen getting it in. So, but I'm gonna open the refrigerator door so you don't fully catch me.
I love it.
But no, but I think passion is really good in a relationship. It's very necessary.
Yeah.
And once passion is gone from a relationship, it can be rekindled because we've seen people who have divorced and remarried.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we
Yeah.
know that it can be rekindled.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think my final thoughts is definitely it can be rekindled. I think that both parties have to want to rekindle it. I think that's
Mhm.
very important. I think that passion helps people overcome a lot of things that you run into as being in a relationship because it's like the icing on top of the love you have for that person. It may sound
Mhm.
a little mushy, but I think it's just that little caveat you have for that person, and it keeps you glued together for that person. It gives you that little that when you see them, and it has nothing to do with sex. I keep saying it has nothing to do with sex.
Right.
So
Mhm.
that's my final thought.
I think it's really important to understand what your personal definition is for passion, desire, and intimacy, and where that definition is coming from, and if there's a disconnect with your partner. Because I have found that two people can have very different definitions, which makes them interact very differently. And when they finally are like, oh, that's what you thought that was? That is not what that is. Then you
Right.
can come together on like, well, what is the compromise that we're going to have? Or how can we get to a middle ground so that we're both being fulfilled? So
Mhm.
definitions are always very, very important.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Wow. Again, thank you, everybody. And for our listeners and our watchers, if you would like to reach out to Natasha for some professional help, just be sure to reach out to us. You can reach us on Facebook, uh, Instagram, Twitter, and just reach out to us. We'll make sure that we get you connected with her. And we thank you for being with us again today. And I thought this was a great episode. I thought it was a good topic. We tried to kind of, keep it to that one area, but I see now it can just go into so
It can
many
grow.
different areas. But that's why we're here, to
Absolutely.
talk about it all. So we thank you so much for listening as always. And meet us on the porch. Every Wednesday night, we drop every Wednesday, we drop a new episode. So we look forward to listening to you listening to us. We look forward to hearing from you. And thank you as always. And on the porch with me tonight, I'm Chauncey. And these are the other lovely ladies we have.
Natasha.
Ramel.
And I'm your girl Kimmy, and everybody have a good week on purpose.